Hey, what's up? This video is going to be previewing this Saturday's game, Purdue at Nebraska, so let's get into it. Alrighty, this Saturday in Lincoln, so far the forecast is showing 55 degrees at kickoff with 10 miles an hour of wind and a 40% chance of rain. So there is a chance this game could be a little bit wet and muddy, but more than likely not, and wind and temperature shouldn't really be a factor. Both of them are pretty normal. As far as the head coaching matchup, Jeff Brom is at Purdue in his second year, I believe, and doing a pretty good job. They had their best recruiting class in a long time last year at 50th in the nation. They're usually about in that 70 to 80 range, so Jeff Brom doing good at Purdue, has them trending upwards. Nebraska, first-year head coach, we all know, did amazing things at UCF, trying to bring that to Nebraska with his whole staff. As far as the strength of schedule goes, Nebraska has played a slightly tougher schedule at the 33rd toughest, but Purdue has also had a decent schedule at the 39th toughest. Now, as far as recruiting and talent on the field, that should slightly favor Nebraska, but so far these last couple weeks, the talent for Nebraska has not been kind of translating to the field. So, I can't read a whole lot into that advantage for Nebraska. Yards per rush, we've got a decent advantage for Purdue at 5.3 to 4.2. Opponent yards per rush, we've got a decent advantage again at 3.6 for Purdue to 4.1 for Nebraska. Yards per pass, a really big advantage for Purdue. They are 2 yards ahead of Nebraska at 8.3 to 6.3. Opponent yards per pass, Nebraska has been improved this year. They have a full yard advantage over Purdue at 6.5 to 7.7. Down to the quarterbacks, we're giving Purdue a B+ because they have a senior quarterback in David Blau, and he is a 3-star recruit out of Texas with lots of experience. He's trending upwards, and this year so far he's completing 72% of his passes at a 9.1 yards per attempt clip, so he is playing pretty well right now, so he gets a B+. Nebraska, we're giving them a C+ because we don't really know the situation. I believe Martinez is going to be a little bit more healthy this week and going to be playing. We've heard that there's no ligament damage, so by now he should be pretty close to full go, but I have to give it a C+. I can't quite bump it up to a B until I see Martinez look good again. Coaching, we're going to give a slight edge to Nebraska just because of Scott Frost's pedigree and what he has achieved at UCF, but Brom is right behind him at a B because he has Purdue trending upwards, no doubt about it. He's doing a good job there at Purdue. Intangibles, neither team really that great in this department. Slight edge to Purdue at a C- versus Nebraska getting an F. If Nebraska doesn't get an F in intangibles, then no team in the nation gets an F. Nebraska is one of the 2 or 3 worst in this department. Intangibles is your field position, punting, special teams, turnovers, penalties, injuries, all that sort of stuff. So, just to break it down, Nebraska is 120th in penalty yards per game, 120th in turnover margin, 128th in fumbles per game, 108th in net punting. It just goes on and on. Nebraska's got to step it up in that department because it is making their games very brutal. And then when we look at the differentials, I love these stats. I think they're very telling of the performance for a team. In rush differential, Purdue has a pretty big edge in a positive 1.7 versus Nebraska breaking even at a plus 0.1. Pass differential, neither team is great. Purdue is at least in a positive of a 0.6. Nebraska is a negative of 0.2. So as far as the differentials go, Purdue has a pretty big advantage over Nebraska. Not massive, but definitely it's there. It's semi-significant. And in overall check marks, we've got Purdue at 7 versus Nebraska having 3. So with the spread being 3.5 points, I think the proper bet here is Purdue. Given my kind of research and what I've gone over, I would say Purdue should be about a 5 or 6 point favorite, and they are only a 3.5 point favorite. So I do think the proper bet in this game is Purdue. But this game has a lot of variables and moving parts. If Nebraska wins this game by 10 points, I would not be surprised. If Nebraska loses this game by 20 points, I would not be surprised. There's just so many things that are up in the air for this one. And you know, I do say the proper bet is Purdue, but I will not be shocked in the least if Nebraska finally doesn't turn the ball over and finally gets some of these intangibles moving in the right direction and does finally put together a game of football and pull out the win. They are definitely capable. So my official prediction is going to be 30-24. Purdue wins against Nebraska by 6 points. So, all right, that's our preview for Purdue at Nebraska. As always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.